There's not much on the public record about Melbourne's taxi clubs, but everyone who uses Victorian roads should be aware of their existence. With major insurers reluctant to cover taxis, the clubs provide an insurance-type service, but there's been more than 50 recent complaints about their behaviour. And there's barely any regulation of the clubs' practices. Some drivers say they're better off with no insurance at all. 7:30 understands Consumer Affairs is investigating 18 of the clubs.
Well, I don't have the money to take them to the club.
For Khalil Antoon and his family, it's distressing to talk about their experience with a taxi club.
This is why you pay insurance, and they just let you down.
Love you, baby.
Khalil Antoon is now a part-time hire car driver, but 2 years ago he leased and drove a taxi. He hired another driver who in May 2010 was involved in a 4-car collision at this Clayton intersection. The damage bill came to $46,000. You were insured yourself and your cab?
Absolutely, yeah.
With who?
With the Metro Club.
Mr Antoon was previously insured with a major company through a broker, but discovered a taxi club was a much cheaper alternative.
$2,400 a year instead $10,000.
And did you think you had the same coverage?
Well, it's showing comprehensive insurance.
These documents show Mr Antoon had paid his premiums for the year 2010. The day after the accident, he says he took his driver to the Metro Club to make a claim.
When they saw 4 cars, they just changed completely. And they told me, this driver, you didn't tell us about this driver. From the attitude, you know it's a start of trouble. They just kicked me out and they sent me a letter like, what, you are not part of our insurance anymore?
The Metro Club in North Melbourne refused our interview request.
So you have no connection with Metro?
But we stumbled across one of the club's operators, although at first he wasn't keen to admit it.
So you don't work for Metro Club at all? There's no one here to talk to us?
No, nothing.
What's your name?
Jim.
Jim Carra. So you do work for Metro Club? So you just lied to me?
Oh, maybe.
He said the club cancelled Khalil Antoon's membership because he breached his contract.
And it had nothing to do with the fact that the damage bill was $46,000?
At that point in time when he'd come in, if I remember correctly, he repaired his car himself within the night. Like he had the accident during, say, 7 o'clock or something like that. Repaired the night, said he stayed up all night repairing his own car so he could get it back on the road the next day. He just had different stories.
So you cancelled his membership?
I didn't personally cancel his membership.
Well, Metro Club cancelled his membership. Do you think that's fair?
If we breach the contract...
Mr Antoon disputes this. Professor Alan Fells is investigating taxi clubs as part of his widespread inquiry into the industry. He describes the clubs as a serious problem and says they exist because mainstream insurance companies largely don't cover the industry. So clubs like the Metropolitan Taxi Club and Metro Club offer what looks like a cheap insurance product for taxi owners and drivers. Documents from those clubs from 2010 and 2011 claim to offer cover with mainstream insurer Zurich. But Zurich says it stopped insuring taxi clubs 2 years ago because it had no oversight of the relationship the club has with its drivers and wasn't comfortable with the regulation of money.
How many taxi drivers or owners do you cover?
I'm not sure.
And how much money would you make a year?
I'm not sure.
Who looks after the money?
You can speak to Walker. You know, we're helping the drivers in covering their taxis. We have a claim, we pay for the claims. That's it, that's what we want to do. If we're not paying for the claims, we're going to have a bad name in the industry. We're going to close down like the others have in the past.
Why do you think so many taxi clubs have shut up shop?
Don't pay their claims, spend the money. Who knows? Too many partners, too many people got their hands in the jar.
This insurance is Mickey Mouse.
Community lawyer Dennis Nelthorpe has dealt with 55 recent complaints against taxi clubs.
These are, even though it looks like insurance, they're not real insurance policies.
Mr Nelthorpe represents 8 drivers who stand to lose their homes or other assets because the taxi clubs they thought insured them have refused to pay out after an accident.
My advice to anyone driving a cab at the moment who owns a house, drive over to the side of the road, turn off the engine, lock the door and walk away from the cab and never go back, because that's the safest thing to do.
Nesreddin Gerard, like Khalil Antoon, leased a cab and employed a driver who had an accident. His insurer, the Metropolitan Taxi Club, refused to pay the $13,000 cost.
You go there, everyone is just, no one is just listening to you.
The Metropolitan Taxi Club in Brunswick Road declined to be interviewed. Now Mr Gerard and Mr Antoon are both fearful they'll lose their homes to pay for their damage bills.
Lucky my wife, she is a nurse. She is supporting the family. I'm not supporting anything.
Well, I'm happy to go in prison for the money, but I wish they don't try to touch my house, because my house, it's a roof for my boy and my wife.
So who's watching what the dozens of taxi clubs in Victoria do with the money they collect and the decisions they make? Not the Victorian taxi regulator, the Taxi Directorate. It says the clubs aren't in its jurisdiction. The consumer watchdog, the ACCC, says it has no regulatory role. ASIC, the company and financial services watchdog, also denies any responsibility. And the insurance company regulator APRA says it doesn't monitor taxi clubs because they're discretionary mutual funds that offer discretionary cover, which means the clubs can refuse to pay a claim or cancel a membership at their own discretion. The only regulator of taxi clubs is Consumer Affairs. 730 Victoria has obtained a letter confirming Consumer Affairs is investigating 18 of Melbourne's taxi clubs. One has been ordered to shut down, 5 others are in the process of being ordered to close. Another 6 have been asked to show cause as to why they shouldn't be shut down. Some drivers are now deciding belonging to a taxi club isn't worth the money.
So most of the drivers I know now, they are not insured. They are driving on the road without insurance.
You may as well save your money. This is a problem that cannot wait for a solution.
Professor Alan Fells is investigating the industry at the moment, and he says that taxi clubs are a serious problem.
Probably.
What do you say to that?
Yeah, some of them are.
But not yours?
No. Look, we've been in the taxi industry for over 40 years. If other people are coming in and doing dodgies and things like that, inquire, do whatever they want to do, that's fine. It helps us in the end to, take out the bad eggs.
We'll see.